Hello, how we doing? It is January, I hope. I hope everyone's well. It's just another touch base, isn't it? I'm just giving a bit of an update to let you know how I'm getting on at the moment and what we're working on. Um, so, at the moment, I think last month I gave a list of everything I was hoping to achieve and get done, and then said I'd probably appear in this vlog covered in clay and stressed out. I'm not stressed out. I'm not covered in clay. I'm covered in paint. I've been finishing off some bases that I'm doing. So, not too bad actually. Initially, I wanted to get a collection of work together for the show that we're doing in. And originally, as I said last month, we were planning for February. And because of that, I set off flew into the new year about 100 miles an hour and thought, right, well, I need something to show then, don't I? Something new. So I started out producing work, some larger pieces, which I'm not, I don't do them very often. But I enjoy them when I do them. And so far, like this month, I've managed to get one, two, three, four together. And I think it was out of sheer panic. And do you know what? I'm actually quite happy with them. It's not like I'm just rushing work out for the sake of rushing work out. So there we go. But hey, we've since changed the dates on that, so we're now that's moved back. So I'll be doing a duo solo show. Just a massive contradiction, but hey ho. With Johnny Sunter, as I said last month, we're showing some work together. So now it will be in May. So I've got some time. So I can make even more work. And if we continue at this pace, there won't be any room for anyone to come in to have a look. Yeah, so it should all be good. So in terms of themes, I know I've been playing about with the idea of um, portrait as a. I'm very tired. It's gone midnight. Portraits, and taking characters out of books and developing my own images of those characters, affected by their surroundings and situations, and how that manifests itself in their expressions, etc. I know I went on a bit of a rant about Lord of the Rings at one point about how we just think of the film versions, how it would be nice to make, to demonstrate a bit of imagination in recreating some characters. Not done. I've made a list, sorry, of the characters I'm going to use. I've not chosen anyone from Lord of the Rings quite yet, but I might do. Who knows? They're lists at the moment. They're not physical objects or works of art. Hey, so what I have been doing is I thought as a starting point, what I'll do is I will make some characters. Some of my favourite sculptures have come out of them, small oddities. I go on about my oddities all of the time because I love them, and the really quick little sketch pieces, and I get to really go to town because at the end of the day, if I'm not happy with it, it's a quick sketch piece and it doesn't matter. And sometimes those ideas inspire larger pieces. I've kind of jumped in with the selection of larger pieces, and just stuck with ideas that I like. So one of them, which I've shared on social media, is it's called the title's Amdram Kafka, and what it is it's a character of a guy who is basically involved in an Amdram production of the Metamorphosis, and his expression kind of gives the tale that his life wasn't great. I had this kind of twisted backstory that he was fed up with existence and thought joining an Amdram society might give his life the spark it needed. He might meet the love of his life. It might change everything for him. But he ends up in a solo production of Kafka's The Metamorphosis, dressed in a ridiculous costume. And it kind of reflects the story itself of, this idea of things shutting down and not going anywhere but downwards. Just not very positive, is it? And the idea just tickled me, so I made that very elaborate backstory, and I just decided to make him. So I made him. So he was the first one. Then I thought back to. Sorry, I keep looking over here because they're all sat there, but I will do some. I'll put some pictures on the newsletter so you can see where things are at. So what else have I done? I thought back to, what pieces have I done that I've really enjoyed, because that's what this project's all about, really, just doing what I want, and focusing on that. And I thought back to Filtered One, which I did, and it sold at Farron's Open exhibition a couple of years ago, and it's just, I don't know what it is about it, but it's just a piece that I was really proud of, and I enjoyed, and I thought, well, I quite enjoy it. Well, the idea was I took some reference pictures and like chopped them up and extended the face, so extended the jaw and the nose ridge, and then kind of put it back together and tried to stay as honest to anatomy as I could. So thinking about, stretching the muscle down and how, if I did that to the skull, how the muscle would have to sit. And it was just kind of a bit of an interesting exercise. Originally it was a bit of a statement on the ridiculousness of all these kind of filters that we use and what that means in terms of our presence and our sense of self and all of that kind of stuff. It just turned into the fact that I quite enjoyed the final image, the face. So so I made a little is quite big actually, but a kind of sister piece, brother piece, as it's male. So I made that and sat it on a kind of slab construction that I've made, and played about with his expression a bit. So that was fun. I've done that one. That he needs to be fired. I haven't really thought about finishes yet, but it might be that I mess about with pigments and things like that I did before. Then I posted that online, and I posted it beside the previous piece that I sold, and got some lovely comments from a lot of people saying that they looked lovely as a pair and that they were kind of reminiscent of the American Gothic. And I thought, well, that's sad, isn't it? He's all on his Todd now. So I recreated the piece that I made back 4 years ago. So I recreated that, but it was mounted on a pole, but it was a kind of relief. It was a flat piece of it. Was a different process. I've made it into like a 3D figure. So they sit together, so they're a nice couple now. So I mean, they don't look happy, but they're together there. They both need firing. What else have we done? He's kind of an idol as well that I've made, and I was looking through some reference pictures and found these amazing pen drawings by an artist from, I think it's like 15th century, called Arndt van Bolten, and I believe he was a silversmith, but he did these amazing ink drawings that are I think they're in the National Gallery or something like that, and they're presented like, like the really old school encyclopedia pictures of animals, obviously in the early days of illustration. They're in that kind of theme, but then they're just these kind of grotesque made up creatures that he's put in these different environments, and they're just a lot of them are bizarre, quite like Bosch inspired, I imagine, thinking about that time period as well. But just great. And then I thought, there's not a lot of expression, there's not a lot of detail but the imagination in terms of the how he's constructed these creatures just set off a spark. And I thought, right, so I'll take that idea and I'll incorporate that with what I do, which is usually just furrowed brows and and pensive creatures. So I mishmashed the two together, and to be honest, it's turned into one of the most evil things I've ever created. I think it might be cursed, but he certainly is an oddity, and it is the one. Well, I've been messing about with him earlier tonight. I think it's kind of a floating egg portrait. I'll put a picture on. Yeah, so there's that. So that's 4 of them. So that's those 4. I've got some ideas about doing a large detailed version of some oddities that I've done in the past, but I'm not going to give too much away till I've cracked on with them. So basically, it's a long-winded way of saying I want a collection of larger oddities and a collection of those portraits that I was talking about as well, and that's about as much as I've thought about so far in terms of content. I realised that I'm going to be kind of hugging all these pieces and not parting with them till I've had a chance to display them. So in the meantime, I need some work to sell. So I'm going to dedicate next week and probably the following week, parts of the following week, to doing a new series of oddities as well, as in the small oddities, which I can then hopefully put through the gallery. So that'll be good as well. So we'll have something new to see there, and probably display some of that new work as well. Yeah. So, and obviously at the moment, dependent on when I get round to things and put this out, we've still got the mixed exhibition on at the Sculpture Gallery at the Corn Exchange, which has been brilliant because it's just been such a brilliant mix of all the work that we've had throughout the year. So I'm glad we've carried that over for a couple of months, and then we're going to be back on with the individual guest artists from next the first Thursday of February. So from February, I'll put the details as well on the newsletter, so that's there for you too. I'm aware that they've also, sorry, I'm just like talking about Sculpture Gallery now, but they've also started stone carving workshops as well. So if you do live locally to Leeds and are interested in that, then there you go. It's a brilliant opportunity. They've started like a little workshop doing that in the base of the Corn Exchange, so it's all there. So if you're thinking about sort of developing a new skill set, hey ho, it's all there. Yeah, so that's that. Wow, what else? Podcast. I've got all the bits. I've got all the bits that I need to finally get this sorted. Even committed to a Zoom account because I realised that a lot of the interviews that I'm going to be doing are going to be long distance. I've got a few people lined up already to speak to. As I said, I want to, if you didn't see last month's vlog, it's basically going to be a monthly creative podcast talking about creativity, the process of creativity, but it's going to span across all different, hobbies and professions and things like that, from photography to sculpture to painting to cookery, comedy, everything. And I just want to explore this need to create, really, and where it comes from. I want to discuss the practicalities of, pursuing something like that. even going into the boring aspects, maybe. Probably not in too much detail. Marketing, things I hate, things like that. As well as, the idea of um, imagination and inspiration and things like that. So that's, yeah, that's work in progress. I've got an opening title song. I've got, I'm all kitted out. I just need to get it done. The first episode is going to be a bit of an introduction. I'm going to go into a lot more detail about what it's going to be about, and I'm going to have to introduce myself. Apparently, you have to do these kind of things. So anyone that is familiar with my work or knows me will probably already know some of this. So, hey ho, there we go. I'll try and make it interesting, I promise. So there's that. So that's a tick off my list. Let me have a look at my list. Yeah, so I've got a couple of collaborations that I'm doing with other artists that I've started. Yeah, I don't want to say too much about that in case it doesn't come off and I'm kind of just, yeah, giving an example of that before people are aware, but hey ho, there's that. And that's about it, really. So I was expecting at this point for it to be a manic race, and there'd be clay on the walls and I'd be crying or something, but it's just not turned out like that. So, got lots of time. Instead of lying back and going, I've got lots of time, and then getting to May and then freaking out because I'm in exactly the same place, I'm going to try and keep going because I feel at the moment I've done the work in that when I have had really busy periods, I've got out my the amount of little notebooks I've got, but I've got them out and I've scribbled down ideas and thoughts and different points of inspiration I wanted to explore, and I've just got books full, and I'm just enjoying having the motivation and the reason. I think this idea of displaying work together and doing what I want has given me just a bit of a spark of motivation to do some really good stuff. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So as you can probably tell, I'm a bit wired at the thought of it. I shouldn't be wired at the thought of it because it's now 12:30 on a Saturday night, and the kids will probably have me up at 5, 6 o'clock. But that doesn't matter, does it? It's all in the future. We should probably go anyway. So I hope everyone has had an amazing start to the year. I hope you got what you wanted for Christmas, and yeah, I hope everyone's well. And I'll catch up with people in February, and we'll see where we're at. See you later. Enjoy. Bye bye.